Hey y'all, how's it going? Welcome back to Seed to Plate channel. My name is Brooke, where we talk all things urban and suburban gardening, small space gardening, all that fun jazz. And today we are actually going through all of the varieties that I'm growing in spring, summer of 2022 because seed buying season happens now. I'm also in Texas. I'm in zone 8B, so I will actually be starting seeds the first week of January, which is only 3 weeks away. I hope this gives you some inspiration of what I'm growing next year. Also, if you need some help getting some thoughts around planning your small space gardening, go back to last week's video, and there's some really good tips and tricks in how I plan a small space garden in my suburban and urban gardening space. So let's get right into it. I have my garden plans here of everything that I'm growing. And my goal this year is to grow as much variety as possible. This will be my last year with my backyard garden because we do live in a rental house. We will start with tomatoes. I love growing tomatoes. I live in the South. Tomatoes are just a very rewarding thing to grow. They can be a very difficult thing to grow, especially when you deal with a lot of the heirlooms. Also, this photo organizer that I got on Amazon, I mean, this is like the perfect little place to keep all your seeds when you're somebody who starts all your seeds from, all your plants from seeds like me. So the first category of tomatoes that I will be growing are slicer tomatoes. So we're talking your big, your meaty tomatoes that you put on a BLT or a burger, stuff like that, like fresh eating tomatoes. First, I'm going to be growing the Paul Robeson. This was a big favorite of mine last year. It's got a really big, smoky flavor. These were, by and large, my favorite slicer tomato last year to put on a BLT. I will be attempting red and yellow brandywines again this year. I got some red ones. I did not get any of the yellow ones last year, which I was really excited about. So we're going to be going for those again. I will be growing the Golden Jubilee tomatoes. These I really enjoyed. I only got a few of them because the only plant I had was in a grow bag that wasn't doing so well. Super excited to have these guys. These guys are going to have like a spot in my in-ground garden space. This was another favorite of mine, the Cherokee Purple. I actually made tomato jam out of my Cherokee Purples, and it is maybe one of the best things I've ever eaten on toast. So Cherokee Purples are going to be a big heirloom purple tomato. They're not quite as deep and smoky as the Paul Robeson. They still have a little bit of sweetness, but they're super tasty. I am going to try and grow some just classic beefsteaks. Funny enough, I don't have a ton of success with just like the classic beefsteak variety of tomatoes. I don't understand it either. And then I will be growing some black Krim tomatoes. And those are all of the slicer varieties that I am growing. And it's mostly just because I have so many seeds. I don't really want to buy any new seeds. I need to kind of use what I have. So a lot of these I grew last year. And I will continue to grow them. I will continue to grow them again this year. So that takes care of all of my slicer tomatoes. Very excited about my slicer tomatoes because I don't eat tomatoes outside of tomato season because I'm a snob like that. And you know what? That's okay. So the next category of tomato are our cherry tomatoes. And cherry tomatoes rarely make it outside the garden because I'm usually plucking them off the plant and putting them in my mouth as I'm out there. So these crazy seeds, this tiny little seed packet, was part of a seed vault that my boyfriend got me the first year I was gardening. And these crazy, they're just called large red cherry tomatoes. These are like workhorses. These are some of the best producing tomatoes I've ever grown. It's pretty wild. So I always keep these in the lineup because they're so dang reliable. Now, this one, I have mixed feelings. The Berry's Crazy Cherry, it's really cool because it has these massive, massive clusters. Last year, I had 2 of these plants. One of them was in a grow bag. It did okay. And then the other one was in the ground and it got stunted out by another tomato that grew way faster. So I'm going to give these another try because I'm going to give them a better opportunity to like grow. But I didn't really even love the flavor. They were weirdly acidic to me. So gonna give Berry's Crazy Cherry another try, but I'm lukewarm on it. The Sun Gold cherry tomato, these are pretty famous. I just got my hands on these seeds, so I'm pretty excited to try these. Never tried them before. The red and yellow pear tomatoes. The yellow pear tomatoes were one of my favorite tomatoes I grew last year. It was in very close running with this one, which will definitely be grown. This is the Sunrise Bumblebee tomato. These were so freaking good. OMG. They were like really sweet, not that much acid, but like a little bit of a kick. They were amazing. And those were ones that never made it inside my house because I ate them all while I was in the garden. So the other category of tomato is going to be paste tomatoes. Now these are mostly sauce tomatoes. I did not have good luck with these this last year. Some of the plants did okay. Some of them, it was late in the season and the squirrels started eating them because they have a high water content and the squirrels are thirsty because it's hot outside. And then those were the ones at my house, and then the ones at the community garden, they got curly leaf virus, which I was super bummed about. So we didn't really have as many paste tomatoes this year as I wanted, but a good old classic Roma tomato. And then we have the San Marzano tomatoes, which apparently it's kind of like champagne, and they're like not San Marzano tomatoes unless they're grown in the San Marzano region of Italy. So I guess we just call them Austin tomatoes. They're tomatoes. So that takes care of the tomato genre of things, which is a very large part of my garden is tomatoes, because I just love them. They're like one of my favorite things to grow. And then the next section are peppers. Now, this last year was the year of the pepper, and I really enjoyed it. I had way too many. So I feel like I have a better understanding of how I consume peppers and how many plants I actually need, but there is a large variety of peppers. So we'll start at the beginning. So poblanos, very, very good, nice and mild, not super spicy. Well, to me, they're not super spicy. Jalapenos, really good for stuffed jalapenos for people that don't like spicy. So it was nice to have a spicy option and a non-spicy option for stuff like that. Anaheim peppers, super good for salsa. Definitely have a little bit of a kick, but a good kick, like a warm heat, not like a melt your face off heat. Mini bell pepper mix, a garden snack. These are another garden snack. These never made it out of my garden because I ate them while I was gardening. Serranos. If you like jalapenos, you should grow serranos. Serranos have way more flavor. They are spicier, but I find that they have more flavor than a jalapeno that's just hot. Habanadas. These will always have a place in my garden because they're just fun plants. They're just happy. Jimmy Nardello. This was actually a recommendation I got off of the Urban Farmstead YouTube channel. He grew Jimmy Nardellos and just raved about them. So when I saw the seed packet, I was like, well, shoot. If he likes it, I would probably like it. The orange bell pepper. So here's the funny thing. These never turned orange for me. We had a very wet spring, and I started to find that the peppers were getting up to size, but once they got up to size, they would start like rotting because of the amount of water that we had. So I actually pulled these peppers when they were green, and they were still really good, like super tasty. They froze really well, but mine just never actually got orange. King of the North pepper. So this one was an experiment last year. These peppers are known for producing early. And that was the reason I picked them, because our season gets so hot here that bell peppers do not do well late in the season. And I got a really good crop off of these early in the season, probably like starting in June and July. And then the plants didn't do very well in August, so they got pulled. But these are great for a southern climate. I know they're called King of the North, but awesome peppers for the south just because of the nature of our weather. So I planted them out probably late March. Yeah, I would say I put them out late March and I got my first peppers in June. Greg's Grande Jalapeno. These are awesome jalapenos. That's all I have to say about them. They're great jalapenos. Shishito peppers. Oh, my Lanta. You have to grow shishito peppers. Like, you must. They are such a good snack. If you just char them and make like a little garlic aioli and dip them. Oh my God, it's so good. You have to buy them. And then 2 new ones to me this year. I've grown hatch peppers before, but never from seeds. So we'll be doing some hatch green chili peppers. This is a nod to my my uncle and my cousins who have lived in New Mexico for a long time. And so green chili for them is kind of a big deal. And then the yellow Scotch bonnet. So these are very, very hot, spicy peppers. The reason I'm growing them is because my boyfriend really loves Jamaican jerk chicken. And he has a smoker and he's really good at smoking things. So he wants to be able to make Jamaican jerk sauce from scratch with the Scotch bonnets. So that covers all of my pepper varieties. And now next, we have kind of like all the, this is like my other container. It's just a bunch of others. Okay, so first thing in the like other category is eggplant. So I forgot about eggplant this year, and the year before I grew way too much. So I would like at least 2 eggplant plants because I enjoy eggplant. It's just not something that I eat like a ton of. So we have just regular old Black Beauty eggplants. They grow really well here in the South in my experience. And then we have an Italian heirloom Rosa Bianca. It's a pink purple striped eggplant. So we will be growing that as well. That will cover our eggplants. Next are our Tomatillo / ground cherries. Now, I do not understand this whole ground cherry thing. I'm not gonna lie. This was one of those things that I bought because a bunch of like YouTubers that I follow like ground cherries. They're supposed to be like kind of spicy, or not spicy, sour, and like good in salsas. I'm excited. So I have Crossack pineapple ground cherries is the one that I have. And then these are the same tomatillos that I grew last year, super productive, the Rio Grande Verde tomatillo. These tomatillos they were great for me. They produced awesome, they did well in the heat. I need to figure out how to better support the plants because it was just like a giant, like uncontrollable bush of tomatillos at a certain point. So I need to figure out how to do better about that. But other than that, they were awesome. And they're the Rio Grande Verde tomatillo. So after tomatillos, ground cherries, eggplants, cucumbers. So I really love cucumbers. They're one of my favorite like things to eat out of the garden because they just have so much more flavor than what you buy at the store. I have a few varieties. I've had success with all of them, and because I'm doing this little green wall experiment, I'll probably grow a few varieties. So we have straight 8 cucumbers. These you can usually buy transplants at the store. I have Market More cucumbers. Again, you can totally buy these as transplants. I do have Boston pickling cucumbers. I'm not sure how many pickling cucumbers I'm actually gonna grow this year because I keep making pickles and we don't eat them. Like, I keep thinking to myself, yeah, I'm gonna make pickles, and then nobody eats the pickles and I throw them out. So no more pickles. The other type of cucumber that I'm gonna try are these lemon cucumbers. I've only heard good things about them. So we'll see, they seem cool. And then I am gonna try and grow corn this year. We'll see if any of this seed is good. It's all pretty old. I have Yellow Dent, Golden Bantam, Bantam? I sounded real southern just then. Bantam. Lord help me. And then this is just a golden beauty. So we're gonna see how it does. I think it's just one of those things that I'm like, yeah, I should do that because I'm a gardener. I should grow corn, right? Yeah, sure, whatever. The other thing is okra. So I live in Texas. I live in the South. I grew okra for the first time last year. And I love okra. I think if you think okra is weird or slimy or gross, I think you need to grow up. I'm just kidding. Not really. No, but you need to learn how to cook okra. It's just like anything. If you don't know how to cook it, you're probably not going to like it. So I started following some like more traditional recipes where okra was in like soups or like saucy dishes where like the mucilage and the mucousy nature of it really acted as like a binder and a thickener. And it's really good. It's really good. So I loved all the okra I grew last year. So we have Clemson Spineless, which is just your traditional green okra. And then we have Red Burgundy, also very pretty. And then we have the Jing Orange okra. So again, these did really well. They produce really fast. Like you really have to pick them like almost every day or the okra gets to a point where it's too big, like literally within 24 hours. So that's on deck for okra. So the last category of vegetables that I'm going to be, or I guess it's really fruit, that I'm going to be growing are melons. Now, I've stated a lot of times, I don't like watermelon. I don't. And you know what? It's okay for you to sit there and tell me to grow up. Like I just told you a few minutes ago, if you don't like okra, I should grow up and eat watermelon, but I'm not. So I am growing a type of watermelon. It is called a Stars and Moon, or Yellow Fleshed Moon and Stars watermelon. Now, I'm interested to try this because it seems like the texture is a little closer to a cantaloupe and not a watermelon. I don't like watermelons because of the texture. Wow, I sound like a real hypocrite now after talking about okra and texture. It's fine. I am going to grow this watermelon that I'm very excited about. Honestly, depending on how I'm feeling, I may just throw a few watermelon seeds in the ground just because why not? At my community plot because watermelons do grow really well here. We are in the South. They love the heat, you know, so it's better to almost have them as a ground cover and give them away and not like let the weeds grow. The other type of melon that I'm going to grow, which I guess is technically, it's called an Armenian white cucumber, but it's a melon. It is a melon. These are really great. I did not have them in the most ideal spot this last year, so I'm excited to put them in a different spot this next year. I will also be growing the Kajari melon, which is kind of a smaller, like personal sized melon. I love cantaloupes and I love stuff like that, but that's just watermelon. So we're gonna see if I have room to grow cantaloupes and other melons. I tried last year and the plants just didn't do that great. But I also think part of it was me and I did not give them enough water. Now, the next part of this is all about flowers. I actually realized a couple of years ago that I really loved growing flowers. I was getting seeds from Baker Creek a few years ago and it was like a peppermint striped zinnia popped up and I was like, that's really cool. I want to try and grow that. So I bought it. I grew it. I was so enamored by the beauty of this flower that I was like, oh my God, I have to grow more flowers. Gotten very into growing flowers. It's something I really enjoy. It's kind of one of those things that if all of your vegetables are failing, at least you have pretty flowers. And the bees love them, and it's just nice to look at, and you get excited when they bloom. It's just kind of a whole thing. So, there's a lot of flowers in here. I am going to go through each variety. So, if you're not a flower person, I would love for you to become a flower person. Stay with me here. Look at the pretty flowers. One flower, and I'll put up some photos up here somewhere, that I am going to try and grow this year are dahlias. I do live in a very hot zone. I'm pretty sure they don't recommend dahlias past zone 8, and I am 8B. So I am like at the tail end of 8. I'm probably like 100 miles away from zone 9, to be honest with you. It gets very hot here. So I've heard mixed opinions. I've heard you can baby them through. They don't like afternoon light because it's too hot, blah, blah, blah. So I am going to try it. It was actually my birthday gift to myself, was to get myself a pack of dahlia bulbs or tubers or whatever the hell they're called, because they're very expensive. So I got a mix that just is happy and bright. I think it's called the Sunset Mix. So like I said, I'll be putting some photos up so you can see those. But I am excited to grow dahlias. They might just require a little more work than I'm really used to doing. The other type of flower that I really enjoy growing are zinnias. So Queen Lime Red, this is a pretty big staple in a lot of gardens in terms of zinnias. I did get a peppermint stick zinnia mix just to reminisce on the first zinnia I ever grew. We have the Fireball blend. I've been growing these this fall and these have been marvelous. The Illumination zinnia. So these were beasts for me this summer. They were beautiful. The plants got massive. They love the hot sun. And then I have the cactus flower zinnias. These just have these really cool petals that are a little bit different. And then the California Giant mix, I'll be planting more of these. I am growing some of these right now. They are big, they are beautiful, they're everything you want them to be. The Canary Bird zinnia, this doesn't have a photo of it, but it is just the most soft, beautiful yellow. I have the El Dorado zinnia, which has been really, really beautiful for me as well. They're kind of like this beautiful, like orangey salmon color. And then I probably won't grow the Meteor zinnia. It's a really bright red, which I love, but it reminds me more of fall than summer. I don't think of red when I think of summer. If you're just getting into growing flowers, grow some zinnias. Like, they are hard to screw up, let me tell ya. So the next thing that does really well here in the South in the sun are sunflowers. So the only thing that I personally don't love about growing sunflowers is they attract leaf-footed bugs. And leaf-footed bugs are mean little fucks. They are very territorial and they like to come to sunflowers and tomatoes, and they lay their eggs on the undersides of the leaves because the leaves are so big and giant, and they protect their eggs. I hate them. I've tried to put diatomaceous earth on them. I've tried to put insecticidal soap on them. Literally, I can't figure out what kills them, but I hate them. And they actually will suck the juice out of your like tomatoes and stuff. So they can be a really bad pest. They're not terrible though. But they do really love sunflowers. So just to throw caution to the wind. I will be growing the Royal Rouge sunflower. These are a very beautiful red sunflower. These Zohar sunflowers are mostly to have cut flowers. So these I plan on mostly having cut flowers. Same thing with the Teddy Bear Dwarf Sunflower. These are mostly going to be for cutting flowers. Vanilla Ice, a very nice white sunflower. This might be hard to see with the light. I did get an Heirloom Beauty sunflower mix. So these are a bunch of different sunflowers. The Golden Honey Bear sunflower, I really loved these, like a lot. And then this is another type of sunflower I enjoy, but it won't be a summer sunflower. They're called Chocolat. I'll probably plant these in like August for some really pretty like fall color. All the other flowers. So calendula is a really awesome flower. The bees love it. So I got some calendula. You can also use it in like salves, and it's supposed to be really good for skincare. I think you can also make tea out of it. Snapdragons. I got some tall blend of snapdragons. These I totally got on a whim. They are Apricot Lemonade Cosmos. Just really pretty. Again, see, I just buy things. Alaska Variegated Nasturtiums. Beautiful, beautiful. Do some French marigolds. French marigolds are really good for pest control. We'll do some Cracker Jack blend marigolds. Did these last year in between my tomatoes. Did not realize that they were gonna get so big. They were like almost as big as the tomato plants. They were probably 3 or 4 feet tall. Mexican torch sunflowers, these get very, very large. They are beautiful. They are beautiful flowers. The bees love them, but they are very tall and they take up a lot of room. And at one point I had to like get some kitchen twine and like tie it to the fence because it was so tall. And then these are peach melba nasturtiums that are just really beautiful spring color, very peachy. This is a African marigold called Phyllis. Very excited about this one. And then the last one are these Fiesta Blend nasturtiums. And you can't eat nasturtiums, so there's that. So those are all of the flowers that I will be growing this year. Again, my goal here is variety. You know, don't look at all of this and think to yourself, oh, I have to have all of this. That's not the point here. Okay guys, so the other thing that I will be growing, but I don't really feel the need to go through every little one, are herbs. Plenty of herbs, basil, parsley, oregano, sage, you know, all of the herbs that I normally grow, cilantro, rosemary, cinnamon, basil, all of the stuff. That will also be going in my garden. So the one thing I forgot to go over, but I don't really want to spend much time on, is squash. I am going to try to grow some squash. However, squash vine borers in the South are, for real, the worst pest ever. They are terrible. Squash vine borers, there are not that many ways to combat them, and so growing squash in the South is extremely difficult. Even if you have netting, they will find a way to get to your crops. And I'm sure there is some kind of insecticide that you can use to make them go away. Oh, it's just not where my head's at this year. I don't want to set myself up for failure in that way. So I'm going to have a couple of squash plants, maybe some zucchini, maybe some yellow crookneck squash. I have no idea, but I am not putting any emotional investment into squash this year because I just can't. All of this being said, this was a lot, like a lot. My goal this year is variety, which is why I'm growing all of these different things. That doesn't need to be your goal. And in years past, it hasn't been my goal. My goal has been to grow enough tomatoes to can sauce. That's been my goal. But this year I just really want to have as much variety as humanly possible, or is possible with my current seed collection. Hope you find some inspiration. If you have any favorite varieties that I didn't cover, please leave them in the comment section so that people can see them and we can all share in this big, beautiful community that we have built here at Seed to Plate. There's a lot of great varieties to grow out there. There's a lot of good small space varieties. There's some good like micro dwarf tomatoes. There's good patio tomatoes. There's all kinds of great resources for small urban spaces or smaller gardens. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them below. Subscribe if you enjoyed the content. Happy gardening, and we will see you next time.